Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. Bradley's mother, Narkis Golan, passed away 3 months ago. He is autistic and needs structured routine and therapies he receives for his autism 6 days a week. However, Italy just entrusted Bradley to the Italian Social Services. If he is ruled to go back to Italy, he will face the next 3 to 4 years in the Italian foster care system, where he can't speak or understand the Italian language. He will be taken away from the only family he has ever known. Please call Governor Hochul at 518-474-8390 to voice your concerns to keep Bradley here in the United States. Hashtag keep Bradley safe. That phone number is 518-474-8390. I have a return guest with me. I have John Udesen. He was last on Slam the Gavel podcast, July 23rd, 2022, season 3, episode 84, where he is a pro se litigant father and he won a case against CPS and explained what's really going on. And today he is here for some updates on what's going on with his case. So I welcome you back, John Udesen.
Hey, Marianne, good to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
Yeah.
But some updates. It isn't really my case that's going on. Let's see, I've been working with lawmakers. Like right now is a really busy season for them. So any communication is like it's off and on, if at all. Like right now, because they're really busy here in Nebraska. But I've been working on some other cases here for people, and we've been making some pretty good progress for like one family like lost their rights. It's almost 2 years ago. And the work that I've been doing over the past month, a couple nights ago, they got a phone call or a message from the people that actually have their children, which like hasn't happened at all over the past 2 years. But the work I've been doing, it reached Lincoln, and I think somebody called somebody, and somebody called them, and they're a little bit worried right now. It seems like, and but that's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And but I met with a senator here, and we talked about making an amendment to the Nebraska Constitution. And there's an issue with these accusations being made on these parents, but like nobody gets any like legal charges, but like CPS takes their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something wrong with that. Like we also talked about maybe jury trials, like when the kids are facing removal, like giving the parents an option to have a jury trial. We can bring it all out in a jury trial to see if they're really like make all these facts come to light that they supposedly have. So there's a lot of work going on here in Nebraska. The senator that I was working with, like he actually nominated himself over DHHS, and I don't know if it's because of the meeting I had with him or if it's because something he does. I don't know. I don't want to ask him that question, but that's another good thing that's going on here in Nebraska. And
I'm sorry. Who's the senator? Who's the senator?
Senator Ben Hansen.
Well, that's good.
Right.
So he's working with you and trying to make changes.
From what he says, yes. But he also warned me that like right now is a really busy season for them. January to like June. But so he let me know that if I don't hear from him right away, not to go crazy on him. But I've been watching what they're doing, and I think they've already put up over 400 bills to be voted on. So like he is really busy right now. And I've also reached out to the governor of Nebraska. Like he's a new governor, but I don't know with my pending litigation against Nebraska if the governor is allowed to talk to me right now. Because CPS won't talk to me anymore. So
yeah,
which is kind of interesting. because we just had one show up a month and a half ago because of somebody else's kid who comes over here. So he called me and he was like really nervous, a little bit nervous, even talking to me on the phone because of the pending litigation and everything I got going on in the state. And what he said, the other child is involved in an investigation or a case or something, and like since he comes over here, then they have to come like look at my kids. And he said, "Well, I don't even want to come like walk in your house." He said, "I'll just see the kids through the door and I'll leave." I said, "Well, that sounds like a pretty good idea." And I said, "Yeah, I mean, I don't want to break the law. This is what you got to do, you know." I said, "I ain't gonna keep you from doing your job. I got nothing to hide, so come on." And he sat outside my door. And I asked him a couple questions, and I had Jay Rosenthal on the phone too.
Oh, good.
It was like he was listening to everything that was going on, and like he was pretty. He made the comment that I asked the CPS worker more questions than he asked me. He said that was pretty good. So, but that was the end of it. Like we never heard back from him again, and they just like normally it would be the office that I have the litigation against, like the
Yeah.
ones that my kid, but they had somebody else from another office like show up from another district. He showed up to come out here. Like, so that's kind of, you know, I mean, I ain't trying to brag, but that just kind of lets me know that I got my foot on their throats a little bit here. And
Mm-hmm.
like, that's what needs to happen.
So when they wanted to come over, did you call Jay Rosenthal immediately?
I got a hold of Jay through Messenger. Me and Jay talked quite a bit.
Oh, good.
And I let him know what was going on. I said, I think I know pretty much what to do. And like he told me, he said, I don't normally do this, like, but I'll be on the phone while they're there and I'll be listening. Like, if you need anything, just let me know. Like, so he did a favor for me, a big favor. And
Mm-hmm.
that's an awesome company that he's got there at CPS Protect. I mean,
Definitely.
yeah, I mean, he's amazing. So,
Right. Because he says to catch it early, to
right.
catch a case super early, and then hopefully he can help people avoid the worst going
Yeah,
down the road.
that's what it's all about. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
get a lot of people 6, 9, 10 months into their cases, and it's like, wow. I mean, I don't turn anybody down unless I don't think that they're being totally honest with me. I mean, I always look over their evidence, you know, and all that stuff. And when
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things that I see, it's like, I'm sorry, I can't, because I'm about helping kids that were removed from the home fraudulently.
Mm-hmm.
But like when there are certain things in the case of like that I see, I mean, I don't want to be responsible for bringing the kid back home into a dangerous situation.
Right.
So I mean, I got to really look at what I'm doing and be sure that that it's the right thing. Well, but I will say 98% of the time it is the right thing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just ridiculous the things they're doing to these people.
Oh, it is. I was watching TikTok, and there was a reel that it was Amanda Wallace from Operation Stop CPS,
Mhm.
and she, I guess, was accompanying parents to a meeting. And after the meeting, the father developed 2 brain aneurysms from the stress of the meeting.
I believe it.
And he passed.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
terrible.
so, yeah, because I just interviewed her about like last week, but it wasn't, yeah, this happened, I believe, this last couple days ago.
Wow.
So, but this is a
But
stress they put people under.
oh, I know. Uh, but the other sad thing about that is that they won't even be held responsible for that. Like when my daughter had her brain hemorrhage, like the first thing they wanted to do was pin that on one of us, me or the mom.
Hmm.
And I was there immediate investigation. And if it would have been because of one of us, we would have went to prison and more likely in the next 40 or 50 years. And why when that happens with them, oh, just a brain aneurysm, it ain't our fault, no big deal. And that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, they have no accountability. There's no oversight with these people.
So, that's one of the things that the senator asked me about. Like, well, what about the oversight? The ombudsman and the inspector general. I said, most of the time they're worthless. They don't do anything. But there's another case here that I've been hearing. Like, we've been in touch, and I can't go into like much about this, but there's some medical issues, like with the child in foster care, and the family called the ombudsman, and there's nothing the ombudsman can do unless a medical provider reaches out to them. They're not allowed to reach out to the medical provider and investigate what's going on. Well, but this kid's life is in danger. I mean, just like flat out, like this little boy is in danger, but there's nothing they can do about it. And that's one of the things that I'm working on this one. I've only been working with them about the last week. But that's one of the worst. That's one of the worst ones that I've heard about. Because they actually, they did nothing wrong. Like no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing. There's nothing involved in the case, no abuse. And it's just, I can't believe what I'm hearing. I mean, I can believe it, but it's just hard to like fathom that this is going on still.
Yeah. It seems like it's getting worse.
Yeah. Well, like here in Nebraska, kind of. Well, I don't think everybody got the memo yet. So I'm gonna let that settle in like for a little bit. Then I did email the governor and I emailed the CEO of CPS or DHHS, and I think that's kind of weird. Everyone says that they're not a corporation, but they got a CEO. I think that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
And then I emailed it to somebody else up there, and I let them know that I have tort claims I'm about to be filing against the state of Nebraska. And since nobody wants to talk to me, like which I know the governor probably can't talk to me, but I don't want to talk about my case. I don't want to talk about mine. I want to talk about these other people that have had their kids kidnapped, and there's a bunch of fraud in their case. Why? Because if they don't talk to me, I'm just going to hit them with lawsuits. It's going to be, see, I told you so. This is what I've been wanting to talk to you about, and you wanted to ignore me. So here you go. Well, there's kids' lives in danger here, and I ain't going to sit here waiting around for my tort claim to get finalized and watch these kids die. So they can either reach out to me and just like suck it up, but they're going to find out the hard way, and it's going to be lawsuits and tort claims and everything else because these kids are they're not going to die on my watch if there's anything I can do about it. Because I know what's going on, and they want to cover everything up the way they did with my kids, and I know what they're doing. I mean, I could tell these people, like they'll message me and they'll say, "I'm confused that this and this is happening," and I said, "Oh, I know why they're doing that." And they're like, "Oh, well, that makes sense." I say, "Yeah." But it's a cover up or it's this or it's that. And they don't know these families, they've never been in this situation before. And they're just clueless to what these people are doing. And I can hear it right away. I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds like what they did to my kids. And so everybody gets their headlights turned on to what's going on around here. And they're actually rising up a little bit and they're fighting a little bit more than they were before. Because they believe that their public defender is actually there to help them. Maybe 1 out of 75 will. But I got another one where the public defender, this is like their first family law case that they've handled. And it's like, wow, really? Like they throw these people to the wolves. Maybe that public defender will do something good or like want to do something good. But once he walks into that family courtroom, it's a whole new world. And there was another one I was working with, not in Nebraska, like where they're hired lawyers. the mom was paying this guy a lot of money, but he didn't know anything about family law. And she got thrown to the wolves. And now they're just about to come out of it. Something happened down there, like something miraculous happened down there to help her out, because there was a lot of bad things that went on in that case. And now, but that'll all come out soon. It was an investigation, and I don't want to say more about that, but something good turned in there. It's
Well,
looking pretty good for her now. Yeah,
that's good to hear, because usually nothing good ever comes
right.
out
Well,
of.
I guess there was a judge that had enough. Like, she was seeing what was going on, and she set up a meeting with the governor. And I guess we just got results of that investigation. I guess, like, now the caseworkers under investigation by the governor, like, by the governor's office, and there's a lot of good things about to happen there, I think. So we need more of that too.
I think that's great.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Do you know that judge's name? Or are you?
I don't know if I should say anything about that right now.
Okay, that's all right.
I know more about what happened. I don't want to put it out there and get anybody in trouble. Because it's an active investigation. So
Okay.
I don't want to say anything about what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we need to see change or get them abolished.
Yeah, there's a lot of people working on it. You're helping out a lot too. I'll tell you what, because I know I was looking for Nebraska families, and after, like, when you Google Nebraska CPS corruption, our podcast is #1 on the search list. It pops up first, so that's helped a lot of people around here too. And well, there's a couple of people that have reached out to me that you referred to me, and I've been working with them on and off. I know the guy up in Michigan. He about all I can do for him is, like, from down here. He wrote me out what's going on in his case, and I'm going to take it to Congress with me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to find these people, and I'm going to show it to whoever I need to show it to. I mean, I'm going to get a pile in there. I'm going to be like, look, clunk, this is what's going. Like, these are just the people I talk to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I got my way to talk to people. I mean, I'm nice. Nice senator this and congresswoman this, but I'm, like, really firm in what I'm saying, and I get the point across. So, like, plus there's a lot happening now with investigations in, like, Florida and I think Texas. They're looking into child trafficking, government funded. So in other words, CPS trafficking finally in Florida. Governor DeSantis, from what I hear, and somebody in Texas, like, they finally said, "Oh, gee, there's something going on here." You know, so hopefully something will come of that. And we're waiting to hear if they're going to have any meetings, congressional hearings over that, like, which kind of lines up pretty good, because next month I'll be going to meet with members of Congress. So, like, maybe it's a timing thing, and and everything's falling into place all like once at the perfect time, and we'll see what happens.
I think that's awesome.
I mean, it just takes one person to make some noise. I mean, and there's a lot of people doing it. So
yeah, I see
now
a lot
the one of us. Go ahead.
I see a lot of noise on TikTok. There's foster kids coming forward talking about how brutally treated they had been in foster care.
Yeah,
they were taken away from their families.
Mm-hmm.
Shame.
That's the reason I signed up for that the other day. Like I said, I don't really know my way around TikTok very much. But I heard that there were foster kids on there, and I was hoping I could, like, maybe talk to a couple of them and, like, find out what happened. And, you know, because one of my main concerns is these kids that age out of the foster care system. You know, they end up doing heroin and, like, living in abandoned homes and dying of drug overdoses. And it's like, once the system is done with them, they don't need them anymore, and they just, like, boot them out the door and forget about them.
Kind of like the veterans.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
we've
is
used you
terrible.
for what we needed, and now we don't need you anymore. So good luck with that heroin that you're about to like shoot in your arm, and
Mhm.
don't come back. That's pretty much how they are.
Because don't you think in these foster care homes, they get these kids drugged up, so they get them used to feeling like that, and then when they age out, they need to continue to feel that way, so they get
You're
into
right.
more drugs.
Yeah, they get them hooked on opioids or like some ADHD medicine, and they get hooked on methamphetamines. And then one day they're gonna mix it with their heroin and shoot it in their arm, and they ain't gonna know what they're doing. They're gonna blast their brains out with it, and they're
Mhm.
gonna die on the side of the road or in an abandoned house or in a shed out in somebody's backyard. And they're just gonna get dumped somewhere because nobody wants them to know what happened. And they need to do something about that. And I know there are some places waking up to that. That also, I think Nebraska. I might have read something that that's one of the senator's issues is like foster care, or maybe it was uh, maybe Congressman Don Bacon. I think it was him.
Mhm.
Like because they asked me who I want to meet with out there, and I said for sure I want to meet with that guy. So they're setting up appointments with the people that I want to talk with. Actually, I want to talk to Kevin McCarthy and Jim Jordan too, but I don't think they're going to set that meeting up with me.
Well,
I
you
don't
never
know.
know. Hey, you know?
I mean, I can reach out to them myself, but I don't want to make these guys mad either. I mean, they invited me on this trip, uh, uh, kind of like an honorary guest thing. Like
Mhm.
I'm not even part of their organization, but they invited me because of the work I'm doing here.
Mhm.
Like they asked me, "Hey, you want to go out and meet members of Congress and like go over legislation?" I'm like, "Absolutely."
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
that's where I've been trying to get with this the whole time.
Yes.
Because I mentioned on my Facebook page more than once that one day I'm going to make it to Congress.
Mhm.
Here I am. I'm going next month. Yeah, I got the fundraiser going and everything, so hopefully that works out. And so, yeah,
Is that stressful to you?
what going
Going to
out
Congress?
there?
Yeah.
Oh no, oh no, maybe like a vacation to me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's like you have no idea. It's like I like narrowed my focus to like working with people in Nebraska. Like because when I was doing this all over the country thing, is the demand far outweighed the supply. It's like I'm only one person. Uh, then like one day I've noticed that I like missed emails from people I forgot I was even working with, and I
Mhm.
that made me feel bad. It's like I don't blow you off on purpose. It's just I got so many people coming to me and I'm the only person doing it. It's just like my wife doesn't know the business. I mean, she went through it, but like she doesn't know the laws and statutes and uh what to say to these people. So I'm just a one man band here.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
When
how
I
many
got 400 to 500 people reaching out to help
Oh.
all at one time, it's like I don't want to like mess up anybody's case or neglect anybody and make them lose their kids. So I had to narrow the focus down. And it's even overwhelming here, and there's not half as many as I was dealing with before. But I mean, we're getting it.
Mhm. So, like, how many crisis calls do you get a day or in a week?
Oh, I'll have it ranges anywhere from 5 to 30
Mhm.
every couple days.
Mhm.
It's
How
you
sad.
and that's one of the things that what really gets to me is just a couple days ago, something happened to me that hasn't really happened in a while. It's like I was like one of the people I'm working with. It's like I was talking to her. All of a sudden, like the like how do I explain it? Like the life just like drained right out of me.
Mhm.
Like I fell into a deep depression, and it's
Mhm.
nothing that's going on in my life,
Mhm.
but it's hearing all these people what they're going through, and it's just like makes you want to lock yourself in a room and yell and cry for a couple days. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just horrible, and I'm part of it is that I feel what they're going through. I mean, even if it didn't happen in my case, I feel for you because you're
Mhm.
about to lose your kids and you didn't do anything wrong. And It's just, I just want to help everybody at one time and just end all this and go to bed for a while.
Mhm, mhm,
But I know uh, that isn't going to happen right away. Why?
mhm,
But I just needed one day to get my mind back, get my soul back.
mhm.
It just drains you.
Yes, yes. Because I'm getting calls as well, and as soon as they start telling me what's going on in the very beginning, I already know where it's going.
Right,
Oh, man, it's just so disheartening, sad,
right.
and I understand the depression. I completely understand that.
It's like not even my depression. It's like
Right,
depression for them.
right.
It's just so many, and it just hit me all at one time. Why? Because I've been dealing with it pretty well. But I just learned the other day that after a while, it's going to bring you down.
Mhm.
Like get some rest, or take a day off, like clear your mind.
Yes.
Also, but I was at work that night just moping around, and even my supervisor walked up and he goes, "Man, you all right?"
Mm,
I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be all right." I kind of told him what was going on with me mentally, and he said, "Oh yeah, I can definitely see that happening with you." And I
mhm.
said, "Yeah, it's
Yeah,
happening."
it's like you're carrying the weight of these
Yeah,
parents on your back,
yeah. Like feeling for the kids and just
right?
imagining what the kids are going through in those rooms by themselves. Nobody cares about them there. They're just a paycheck to those people.
Mhm.
Like 99% of those people don't care about those kids that they're fostering. Like one lady made the comment, I think she had 6 foster kids and they were her car payment every month. That pretty much sums it up for a lot of these people too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's how she put it.
Well, that's human trafficking right there at its finest.
Yeah,
Ugh.
because once you remove people from their home like fraudulently and against their will, and then you make a profit off of them, that's human trafficking.
Mhm,
When you got all the attorney generals all across the country, yeah, we're fighting human trafficking, we're fighting human trafficking, but you represent the biggest human trafficking ring in the world. Like,
mhm.
so how are you against human trafficking? Well, but I can't get the attorney general to talk to me. There's nobody wants to talk to me anymore.
Well, plus you've got that impending lawsuit, so
Yeah,
I don't
I
even
can't
think
even.
the, lieutenant governor can even talk to you or,
God.
attorney general, any of those.
Yes, I hope one of these people listen to this or they get wind of it because I don't want to talk to them about my case. Well, my case, whatever.
Mhm,
Um, like they have another month to figure out what they want to do with my case because their 6 month limit's going to be up here next month.
mhm,
And but I don't want to talk about my case. These people's cases are more important than what I got going on
mhm,
in the tort claim.
mhm,
That's already said and done. It's already written up, waiting on judgment. I don't want to talk about that. These people's case needs to be talked about.
mhm,
These kids are in danger, and when these kids die, if any of them die, uh, I hope they don't.
mhm.
But if it does, what are they going to do then? Oh, we're going to open up an investigation and we're going to try to cover this up and cover that up to make it look like we didn't do anything wrong. And it's not going to work. They're going to have some blood on their hands. And
Mhm.
then they're really going to be hearing something. Why? Because I told them so.
Mhm.
Because I've sent letters and I've sent emails and made phone calls and um, nobody returns them. Okay,
Yeah.
ball's in your court.
Mhm. But, with your case, you talking about your case, you can lead into other people's cases, and that's because you're helping so many people with what you've been through.
Right.
But I think these people should also know about your case.
Well, you mean the people up in Lincoln that I've been, like the governor and all that?
Sure, I mean
They know about my case because I sent them like packets of evidence weighing over a pound, along with the timeline that goes along with it. And they know what's going on in my case, and that's the reason nobody's talking to me. Like, they've had 5 months to shut my claim down,
Mhm,
and they haven't done it yet. So I must have something in there
mhm.
that's right, which all of it's right.
Right. There's merit.
neglect and everything else, endangerment. I mean, torture. They tortured my 1-year-old son,
Mm.
like medieval style, and nobody did anything about it. They denied him medical treatment and everything else. So yeah, I mean, they don't have much to stand on. But I don't want to talk about my case. My kids are home safe. The case is closed, and these other people out there, like I said, they have kids in danger,
Uh-huh.
and that's what I want to talk about.
Do you think, the judges are partly also to blame for
Oh,
letting?
absolutely.
Mhm.
I had the judge in my case sit right there in the courtroom, and I told him on November 4th of last year, but my kids were removed, or not last year, the year before, but they're removed based on lies. That
Mhm.
judge looked right at me in the courtroom and he said, "Yeah, well, the kid needed to be removed anyway." Well, then I
Ah,
feel like looking at him and asking him, like, why do you have to lie about it? If they needed to be removed, you wouldn't have to lie.
uh-huh.
Like, so I filed a um, um, uh, judicial complaint, like sitting right here in front of me, hanging on my wall with all my other
Mhm.
paperwork. And they accepted the claim. And then, like, they said that he did nothing wrong.
Of course. It wasn't unethical enough.
Yeah, and this comes, yeah, like from the Judicial Qualifications Commission. Plus, like when I got the audio of that hearing, uh, they edited out the judge saying that. That's not even in the transcript. And I said, if you put this recording under investigation, like forensic investigation, like you'll see that I'm telling the truth.
Mhm.
So, well, and there's another thing. From another hearing, I got the recording for, and they edited that thing like totally. There's
Mhm.
like so many edits in that thing that you can't even. Well, I was listening. Well, because there's evidence on there that I wanted to use, and I'm listening. I'm like, all right, here it comes, and it's like, what? That's not what was said. And then they edit other things out. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm just, I'll just get you another way legally.
Mhm.
But I've learned so much case law, and I've learned so much about like Nebraska law over the past 6 months. I could probably pass the Nebraska bar exam,
Mhm.
like for
Do
family.
it.
Oh, I want to. If I can get enough money out of this claim, and I shouldn't say this because they'll hear it and they'll deny everything. But I would like to quit my job and go to family law or like law school and
Mhm.
learn like family law and like constitutional law and maybe criminal law. And when then I can help people on all levels of their case.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, but I gotta wait. I don't know if I'll get that much money. I asked for 7.5 million. Like we'll see what they want to send me.
They should send you that after what you've been through.
And I even let them know. I said, this isn't for me. I mean, I'm not even suing them for what they did to me. This is for what they did to my children.
Right.
And I mean, I would use some of that if I could to go to law school, but I'm going to bank most of it in my kids' bank. I'm going to give them, we're going to go to Disneyland.
Mhm.
I could go to law school, kind of like as a memento for like fighting for them.
Mhm.
Like that's how I would look at that. It would just be like honoring them. And I'd go to law school and I'd fight these other bastards that are doing this to these kids around this country,
Mhm. Mhm.
constitutionally and on a local level, because it's just, like I said, it just drains the life right out of you what they're doing with you guys.
Oh, yes. I know because when my kids were sequestered and, because I had those emotional abuse charges on me that I got exonerated from, but the judge still didn't go back to 50-50 because he entertained that I was still emotionally abusive, even though a CPS judge ruled that I was not. But
Right.
I did get to say to the caseworker with the Dr. Seuss hair, I actually wrote a poem about her hair. It's in my book. It's in my book, Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth. But her hair just went like this. And she was passing me in the pew, and there was no one else in there, just my parents and the entourage and her. And I said, "You're a
Right.
liar." I said right out loud, because they were calling me crazy, because that's what they do, is they call parents crazy. And so
Right.
she said, "What did you say, Marianne?" And I said, "Gee, I can't remember." I went and sat down. But it was
Um,
good to say that, because that's all she did was perjure herself on the stand. But that's
oh
okay.
yeah.
They get away with that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how they took my kids. That's the reason I told the judge. Like the reason he moved my kids were based on lies. Oh, yeah, they didn't be removed anyway. Are you kidding me? But I was wanting to ask you about those books. Can I order those directly from like you, or do I have to have them like order them from like Amazon or something?
You can order, from me. I can tell you.
Could you sign them for me? That's the reason I wanted to order from
Yeah,
you. All
yeah.
right, cool. But, okay, I get paid this week. I'm gonna order them. I've been wanting to do it, but I got a lot of financial burden on me right
I
now. But
hear
I'll be
you.
able to do it this next payday.
Yeah, no worries.
But I've been wanting to ask you if I can order from you and get them signed from you.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So how are your kids doing now?
The kids are great. Uh, they're just moving right along. My daughter's in therapy still, but she went from going every week, and then it was every other week, and now it's just once a month.
Mm.
And it probably helps a little that
Mm.
they're spoiled. They're spoiled rotten.
Yeah,
I, but after what they went through, how do I tell them no? You
I
can't.
know. Yeah.
I mean, I should, but I can't because my daughter knows that if she gives me the puppy dog eyes, it looks like she get ready to cry. That it just immediately breaks me. It does. But I got more toys now than I ever had in my lifetime.
Well,
It's the God truth.
yeah, because part of their childhood was destroyed.
Right. And I can't bear to see them cry. And I know that's not good that I give them pretty much everything they want, but
Mhm.
but they had a lot taken from them too.
Right.
That's like one day, I mean, I've said no a few times, like
Mhm.
when I've had to, or if I didn't have the money or else, like whatever reason. I mean, I don't do it all the time constantly, but I'd say about 97% of the time. If I got the money and they want something, they get it. I mean,
Mhm.
because I feel so bad about what happened. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
something that can never be taken back. And I just want to
mhm.
comfort them all the time to make sure they're okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you. Hey, I don't judge you. And
Right. Well, I do.
oh, well,
And I know that
we're too hard on ourselves.
well, I don't want the kids to grow up thinking that they get everything they want.
Right.
So one day I'm going to cut that off and not make Christmas every day of the year. But
Right.
um, it was a lot worse. Like one day I did actually have to tell my wife because my wife would look at me whenever I go out grocery shopping and I bring home like 3 bags of toys. And it was like, but after we moved into this new house, it's like I had to shut that process down. So I yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
The rent's more here,
Yeah.
and the yeah, I just have to be a lot more responsible, like with this house. So
Well, this happens. They'll understand.
right, I know. I just like what happened to them. It just like never leaves my mind. It's like all the pictures and like having them show up with bruises and like everything all over their bodies, and I was helpless. There was nothing I could do.
Mhm. Mm.
Why my daughter just had 2 brain surgeries, and then she shows up at my house covered in bruises all over her back. Like that'll suck the life right out of you. I mean,
Oh,
there's nothing you can do as a dad.
yeah.
It's like, what really? I mean, I just have to sit here and watch this happen.
Mhm.
Plus, I know where those people live, and you don't know how hard it was to stay home.
Mhm.
But I had to, or else I wouldn't be where I'm at today with these guys. So, I
Mhm.
mean, just restraint that I had to I had to deal with.
That's
And that
stress.
wears on me. Uh,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I graduated my therapy too, so I guess I did something
Yeah, you did. You're doing a lot right. You're helping so many, and that's why I'm
right.
glad I had you back on. I'm gonna have you back on again.
Yeah,
We
we
can
never actually talked about the other thing, but that's okay. That's another
Oh,
show.
well, we can.
Oh, like how much time we got left?
How about 10 more minutes? I don't know.
I could probably fit it in 10 minutes, but I just want people to know, like I mentioned earlier, like some people maybe don't want to hear this, but like once you identify like who you're really fighting against here, like that makes your fight a lot easier to win. Because this is pure evil. I mean, this isn't you against CPS or you against the state. Yeah, it is. But you have to realize what they're doing is evil. I mean, just like flat out evil. And there's only one way to fight
Right.
evil. When I realized that, like my whole case turned around. I mean,
Mhm.
in an instant, it was like overnight. But I prayed one night. I mean, I got down on my knees and I cried.
Mhm.
And it's like the next day it was a whole new ball
Mhm.
game. Like once you hand this over to God and you say, "Look, take this from me. I can't do this,"
Mhm.
and He will. Um, but once you realize that, though, then you're going to realize that you're not fighting for victory; you're fighting from victory. Like so, that makes it a lot easier to win. Like when you realize how to fight actual evil, because this is a spiritual battle. This isn't. This isn't you against the law. This is evil using those people as his minions to do these things to you. Like, cause you don't invite evil in. Well, you just have to leave a door or the window open, have a couple of drinks one night, and that's letting them in because one drink turns into another, and before you know, you're drunk and your wife makes you mad, and you yell, and the window's open. When the neighbor hears what's going on, they call the cops. All of a sudden, CPS is showing up at your door saying that you beat your wife after death when you never raised a hand to her. And that's all that has to happen.
Mhm. Mhm.
But if you follow what God says, you're not going to get all drunk and you're not going to let them things happen. Like, so that's what I mean by you don't have to invite it in. Like, you just have to leave the door or the window cracked open. And like I said, that's all it takes. But once you realize what's going on and like who you're actually fighting against, there's no limits to what you can do. Like, cause I had miracle after miracle happen in my case. Like, and the things that I did, I mean, I was persecuted because I prayed for my children, and that's a big no-no. We don't mess with God's people, and that after that happened, I got the caseworker. We got rid of the caseworker. We got rid of the agency. Like took my visits away, and we got a new caseworker. Was actually a honest, God-fearing woman.
Mhm.
But goes to church, and she came into our case. I think I already probably told you this back then. And
Oh, no.
like she walked in and said, "What's going on here?" That's what I've been trying to tell everybody.
Mhm.
What's going on here? You can't do this to people, you know. But there's a lot more that happened in between Miracle Wise. I mean, that's another show. But I mean, if like anyone wants to know more about what happened, the way that I found out how to do this, and this guy wrote the playbook for what I did.
Mhm.
Um, uh, um, Dr. Tony Evans, like look him up on YouTube. This guy wrote the book. Like he led me right to God, and like he uh, told me how to do this, what I did, and everything uh, what that I did is in his sermons. And the first sermon I ever listened to that actually got me rolling, it's called like praying and waiting on God's timing. That was the one that like laid the foundation for what I did. And then the second one was uh, uh, reclaiming what Satan has stolen, I believe is the name of it. That's the big one. I mean, but I would listen to one and then I listened to another. And then the list showed up underneath. It was on YouTube and it was like, holy cow, that sounds like what's happening in my life. And then the next one would be the same thing. And I would end up with like 50 sermons. Like, and I listened to them all, but they all pertain to what I needed to be doing to beat these people. And it worked. I mean, it worked. And that's the only,
Right.
I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't have anybody on my side telling me what to do or anything. I listened to him and like God was like right there with me. It's like I would actually wake up in the middle of the night with this urge to have to write this email, and I couldn't go back to sleep unless I wrote it. Like, so I'd get up and I'd write the email and I'd send it, and then the next day, holy cow, man! It's like I would, um, the results from that email like really changed my whole case around, and it'd be like, wow, that was him. I mean, why would I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning having the urge to send an email before I could fall back asleep? And then the next day when I woke up, I had an answer in my email that's exactly what I wanted, if not better than what I was hoping for. And but you just have to listen to what he's telling you. I mean, you have to know how to follow what you're doing. And it's like, it's really miraculous, the thing that happened in my case. And there's only one explanation for it.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, but you got to be honest. I mean, like, don't walk into that courtroom making up stuff and lying, because you got to be 100% honest, because you need truth on your side, because he doesn't deal with lies. Like the way that he deals with lies is what he does to them. But you need to be honest and just follow the rules. Like I said, Dr. Evans wrote the playbook on what you need to do to get your kid back. I swear he did.
Awesome. I'll even put that in the podcast notes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people need to know that. I mean, a lot of people hear, oh, you're going to talk about God. But you know what? This isn't something I did on my own, because I'm a law genius, because I'm not. You know, I didn't know how to do these things. I didn't know what to do. I would get these ideas and I wouldn't leave me alone. And when you get those ideas, you need to do them, because he's telling you that's what you need to do now. And there were some emails that after I sent them, I'd be like, wow, should I have really said that? I mean, I was never rude or, well, I maybe a little rude, like, but I never called names. I never cussed or anything. But there was a couple emails that I sent. Like after I sent them, I was like, wow, should I have really said that? Like, and then the next day, I would get an email back from the caseworker or something, and like my email angered him so much that he said something he shouldn't have said. You know, so I mean, it just works like that. It's just pay attention. Like when God's trying to tell you something, do it. Listen to him. Like
I agree with you. I agree with you.
While it looks like he's not doing anything in your situation right now, that just means he's over here doing something else.
Right.
So hang in there and don't give up. I mean, that's just listen to what he's saying, because he's right all the time.
Oh, 100%. Yes. My friend Carolyn had well, it's not a saying, but it's something that was passed down. My God is not in a hurry, but he is never late.
Right. Yep. Toby Mac has a song too, Help Is on the Way. And that's one of the songs that helped me get through all this, and like helped me keep my mind together. There's been quite a few songs that did that, but that's one of the ones, because I would listen to that and I would think of my kids.
Oh, I'm so glad Now, how can people reach you if they have any questions?
Um, my email that I usually use for people in this situation is the voice of our children 22 at gmail.com, and that's all lowercase.
Okay. The voice of our children 22 at gmail.com.
Yes. But it's also under my profile picture on my Facebook page.
Oh, you're on Facebook. Okay, good. I'll put that in the podcast notes for everybody.
Okay.
And don't jump off.
I won't.
Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these family courtrooms. I'm your host, Marianne Petrie, author of Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, and Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth. Please join us again here with John Udesen in the future and other exciting guests. Totally. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate everything you are doing.
You're welcome. I love talking to you. We need to do it more often.
We will. We will.
All right.
Okay, so don't jump off.